Okay, this may sound like science fiction, but imagine you run a business and you have, let's say, 50 employees, and you invested in this amazing AI solution that is going to revolutionize your business. You trained your staff, yourself, and you're excited. They just released this amazing, powerful AI engine. You've been using it for 2-3 days, and boom, it got banned. You cannot use it anymore. Why? Because you are not in the US. You're not a US national. So what's going on here? This is Beyond Big Tech, a founder's journey to digital sovereignty. My name is Wojtek and this is Tom, and together we're gonna take you on this journey to help you learn about sovereign solutions, learn about the tech, the opportunities are here on the market. And it all started with my friend Tom. Tom, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Why are you here?
Okay, thank you for the good intro. I'm Tom, and I run company Operum.tech. Technology actually has been all my life since really early days. I don't know if you remember ZX Spectrum Plus.
What was that?
It's a PC who was basically it fit in a keyboard. That was an amazing piece of tech. For a very long time, I've been really living through big tech and a great proponent of the technology. But recent US administration, unfortunately, they show that there is a limit how far we can go. Yes, I decided that I have to do something about research and learn more. What can we do to protect our independence and give us an ability to run our businesses without the big tech? Yes, we're not doing this because we hate the big tech. That's quite the opposite. I've been great fan of Apple, Microsoft, and so on for close to 3 decades. But we need to understand how we can work ourselves with European technology.
Wow. So we are in a perfect situation because together with Tom, we can get on this journey and learn all this information about the sovereign tech. And this podcast is all about learning the practical reality. So we're going to do reviews. We're going to do Tech Academy. We're going to interview people, founders, experts from the field. And we're going to have a lot of fun at the same time. And of course, a lot of news. So we're going to share with you recent developments on the market around digital sovereignty, around tech sovereignty. So I'm very excited about it, especially in a way because I used to be a lawyer. So I'm a former lawyer that transitioned into business development and marketing, working with financial and legal sectors for the past 10 years. And last 3 years, I've been heavy user of AI. And especially last year, been really getting into the AI world, even helping my clients with adopting AI. So I'm very excited to learn more from you guys, because this channel is part of the community where we can all embrace this sovereign revolution, because it's not just about the kind of, like you said, it's not anti-American or anti-big tech. We're thinking about how as business people, how as individuals we can be sovereign. So we can make sovereign decisions. So you're not tied to particular programs, software. So you can make decisions in a very smart way. So that's why we're doing it. The main agenda is to learn how we can be more productive, how we can grow businesses, how we can grow our careers with this new way of technologies, opportunities like AI. So today, the main focus is going to be around AI, because this is really big subjects at the moment. I'm super excited.
Oh yeah, likewise.
So let's crack on to the news maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go on. So the first news is...
Yes, so this is what we actually mentioned at the beginning. I've been using Claude and many other tools for a while. And I was so excited when Claude released this engine called Fable 5. And they were very smart with the marketing because they were releasing it kind of like creating a bit of suspense, like, oh, this engine was given to some corporate companies to test it because it's so powerful that they're not sure if it's safe. And they give it to the people. I was so excited. So for the first 3 days, I was like, wow, this is so powerful. Me, who is not a tech guy, I could create a demo for a potential investor. And when I showed it to the tech guy from University of Cambridge, he was like, oh, so you already have a software developer on board? I was like, no, I did it myself. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So you can imagine how excited I was. And then, boom, the information on Saturday, and it was 12th of June, and we have this. This was released by Anthropic, the company behind Claude. The US government, citing national security authorities, has issued an export directive to suspend all access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5 by any foreign national. So all of a sudden, boom, I couldn't use it. I couldn't continue working on my project. So massive thing. You know, this whole subject around digital sovereign, which was driven by so-called kill switch.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, someone in the US can basically say, boom, no, you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, this is the worrying part. Basically, US set up a precedent. They show they have the power, they have ability to lock us out of the solutions which we actually might depend. Now, if you look on the statistics in Europe, Europe is super heavily reliant on big tech from US. So UK, I think, relies up to 80% on Microsoft, Google. Now, AI is becoming even a step further because it will be integrated so deeply that if it's suddenly pulled out of us, we'll stop operating at all. And the worry is that if we don't have our independent solution, that somebody who might not be as friendly towards Europe might decide, actually, I will stop providing you with the service, and then you have not much option. Yes, obviously, there will be people who will counter, okay, the US will not shoot themselves in the foot. They will not stop suddenly selling to one of the biggest markets. Yes, Europe is one of the biggest markets for them, which I'll counter basically. Think of it this way. US, the big tech, which is based in US, they provide a service to Europe, Asia, Africa, and obviously US as well. So EU and UK is a big market, but not basically all the market. So if they stop, it's a big hit for them, but they can still operate. Whereas Europe, actually, if we can't use our tools, suddenly we lose all the ability to operate. And that's a very scary thought. So imagine you open your PC and nothing works. You want to access your Windows, you want to access your Macs, operate any kind of software, and all of them stop because somebody decide this is, for example, a security threat, or it's a negotiation tactic like it was with the tariffs, and suddenly nothing works. It's a very scary thought, and because of that, I decided, well, we should actually investigate what can we do. Now,
and it's good that we're not alone, because I've been doing a lot of research. I've got to know some companies that have been working on European solutions. There is a huge community. I was even shocked that on Reddit you have over 400,000 community members just talking about de-Googling.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is massive. And okay, the challenge is massive because you have, just at the infrastructure level, when it comes to the cloud, you have 70% reliance on US.
yeah.
And if you think about it, that when it comes to production of the chipset, the Europe is kind of responsible for just 10%. So we are so behind. So it's good that we're having this conversation. We can see that the things are changing in the UK and in EU. The last year was very important, and what's been going on politically in the world, as we know, we don't want to go into the details of what's been going on in the world, in the Middle East. And this was a wake-up call to the politicians that, okay, this is serious and we need to act. We have specific quotes from European Commission and with the EU bodies saying that we need to work on independence. We cannot afford to have a potential kill switch on the cards. Today I want to focus on this Claude statement, a following decision of the government to ban mythos and fable in Europe, right?
Effectively, it's banned everywhere because they couldn't work out who actually was because even if you were a foreign, yes, not US citizen, and you are within US, so even if you are employee of Anthropic, you should not use it. And obviously Anthropic couldn't, within 90 minutes they had, decide how
90 minutes?
90 minutes. They had the 90 minutes to cut everybody out. So they decided, okay, the safest way is obviously to stop the access to the model at all. The funny part is there are other as capable models, yes, from ChatGPT and Gemini that are very close to what the Mythos can do. So if you look on the recent notes, there was a picture of the CEO of Anthropic and Trump. And again, apparently the Mythos is no longer a security threat, like national security. So it might be enabled at some point. But the fact is, we are become vulnerable.
But tell us your opinion as well. Remember, this podcast is going to be a weekly occurrence, so we're happy to have you here watching and listening to us. But if you have any questions, let us know, put it in the comments. So we're happy to engage in this conversation because this is a huge subject and a lot of people are thinking about it. And let's delve into another news, which is actually related, right?
Yes, it's about price increase. So it came out that Microsoft is increasing because obviously all the AI businesses, they lose lots of money. OpenAI made on revenue of, I think, $12 billion. They made a loss of something like 22 billion. So obviously they're quite deep in red. And that's basically Microsoft is increasing prices. So business basic increases by 16%, business standard increases by 12%, and other ones, they increase from ranges from 8 to basically 16, almost 17%. So Wojtek, what's your take on it? Like how you feel like an entrepreneur, business manager when you hear something like that? What's your take?
It's a big one because if you have a company with just 50 employees, this is about, 900, which you have to add to the budget. So obviously the bigger operation you have, the more increase it is. And I can see with other big tech solutions, they are entering monetization stage. And it's the same pattern like we had with social media. So you had, for example, Facebook, inviting everyone, kind of making it addictive. So we are being sucked into the platform. We use it on our lives, in our businesses. All of a sudden, our marketing is there. We find clients there. The same thing happened with LinkedIn. Business communities, people starting creating content, using it to engage or using it for career development. And then at some point, once the platform gets bigger, then this is where they enter monetization and they start this pay to play. So it happened with Facebook, with other platforms as well. All of a sudden, organic reach is going down and you have to pay. So the same thing, I think, is going to happen with other techs and with AI, for example.
Okay, let me play a devil's advocate. So in your opinion, if you have a successful business, shouldn't you be able to, okay, they increase the price. Shouldn't you be able to either withstand the increase or charge your customers more?
It depends. Me as a business owner, I'm thinking about it. I like to have option to make sovereign decisions. I don't like to be tied down to one particular platform because if I'm too heavily dependent on it, then escaping that solution is too painful, it's too costly, time and everything. And this is what happened with Europe, with all these solutions. So Microsoft is now monetizing the market because they're realizing, okay, this is a good moment actually. We have this digital sovereignty movement and we have bigger players coming out now offering very kind of alternative solutions. So they kind of like, okay, they're going to leave anyway. So we're going to monetize it, push it a bit. And this is what's happening. And I think we'll hear more and more from other players as well, increasing prices and offering kind of like upgrades, this and that. So I think this is big driver. So from the position of business owner, this should be an eye-opener because it's not just potential kill switch, but from just economic point of view, the price increases are showing us that if we stay too reliant on the big tech solutions, they can do everything with us, and we will have no choice to pay and play in order to play.
I hear you. I mean, I definitely learned that the service provided where you don't have an easy way of switching provider, you're asking yourself for a trouble. To give you an idea, we had a situation where we were using like one of the main software, which we had to install on thousands of machines. Basically, from year to year, the company charges, I think, something like in excess of 1,000%, because they knew that for us to reinstall software on, let's say, 2,000 machines, it will be a very big task because we have to access 2,000 people. So that's a very difficult operation. In the end, what we did, we basically had to bite the bullet and run in parallel two solutions, so pay for two different providers and leave the first provider, which basically increased our prices to such a drastic level where it wasn't basically making any more sense to actually stay with them. And yeah, with big tech, there is not much alternative, or at least we're not aware. And obviously, we're trying to get to the bottom of it and find the solution. But let's go to the next section.
And I think this is a very important section because this is where we put all of this into practice, because we're going to talk about the news and what's going on in the market, but then how we can implement it. So I'm very happy that you'll be here, because if it were just me, as a former lawyer, I'm not a tech guy. So I'm happy to have you here, my friend. So we're going to get our hands dirty. So because we talk about AI today, we're going to talk about AI alternatives, sovereign alternatives in Europe. So I prepared a list of just 10. So we have the French Mistral AI. We have Aleph Alpha from Germany. We have Polish Bielik. Okay, we have Lighton Paradigm from France, Noxture from Germany, Silo AI. We have Lumen from UK, Uria from Switzerland, DeepL from Germany, and we also have OVH Cloud AI solutions. We talked about it before. Maybe some of you, if you know anything about these solutions, you've used them, please share your experience. We would love to hear, because now for the next weeks, we're going to test two of these I mentioned. So, Tom, you picked two, and I think, yeah, these are perfect.
So we picked one of the biggest names in European tech, which is Mistral, which is a French one. I don't speak German, and we looked on the British one. It just allows only the waiting list. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to run any tests for it. So we went for something which is close to our heart, Polish product, which is called Bielik. Now, in order to make this fair, we decided there would be a very scientific way of deciding who is testing what. And that scientific thing is basically rock, paper, scissor game. So the winner picks the AI model they want to test for foreseeable time, and then we'll do the review. So are you ready, Wojtek?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissor, shoot. Oh, I loved it.
I think I was first. So okay. So okay, I'm gonna go for Mistral.
Mistral. Okay. So I will go for Bielik. So I will be running tests on Bielik, and Wojtek will do Mistral.
Okay, so you can expect in the next episodes that we'll be sharing the screen, we'll be showing you how to use it, what's good about it, what's not, comparing it with what's other big tech solutions we have. But yeah, I'm very excited about. So in every episode you can expect the news, the review of the solutions, and also Tech Academy.
Yep.
Why? Because I'm going through this transition to learn. I've learned a lot over the years, but this is kind of like, especially with the guy like him, over 30 years in tech, I can learn so much, and I can learn from you guys as well. So please don't hesitate. Educate me as well. Tell me if I say something wrong. You have open invitation to basically correct me if I say something wrong.
I mean, definitely everybody, like even IT people, we make mistakes. So don't worry, you're not alone. So what we'll do is in this section, basically, we will play with the solution, whether either Wojtek asks me questions and I'll try, or you can ask us a question and we'll try to answer best to our abilities. Or I will prepare a set of a question which Wojtek will have to pick answer from, let's say, multiple choices. And we'll keep the score to make it interesting.
But today I have a question.
Okay, so what's your question?
I've been involved with AI for quite a while, and I'm really passionate about it, about the opportunities give us. Of course, I'm also worried about the other side of things, how dangerous it is. So that's why my lawyer's hat is thinking about compliance and everything. And one of the things I've been talking with different business owners, they've been asking me, and I know something about it, but I couldn't explain them in a proper way. So maybe you will be the perfect guy to tell me. So we have these different generative AI options, this subscription level companies like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, whatever, DeepSeek from China. But what about open source solutions? What is this?
Okay.
What does it mean?
Okay, so let's first define what open source means. Open source is it's a solution which was created by one of the early people. It's Richard Stillman. The idea was that he wanted to use a piece of hardware, a printer, but that printer wasn't working very well. So he tracked down a person who actually worked on the device, created the software for that device. And he learned basically that person said, "I'm so sorry, I can't help you." That was back in 1960s. And he said, "I can't help you because I signed NDA. I can't disclose it, even though I know, but I can't help you." So he was very upset, and he created this movement called open source, where people can basically check what's inside the software and potentially fix it and make it better. And now
Anyone could do it.
Yeah, everyone.
Okay.
Me, anyone. All you have to do is commit your time, your effort, and obviously your knowledge in the field. One of the biggest projects in open source obviously is Linux, but as well, a lot of what's happening on the web is powered by open source. Now, AI, obviously, it's the element of that where people have, I would say, two tiers. First tier will be, let's say, Facebook releases their model Llama as open source. They say, like, you can improve it and so on, and you can make it better.
And everyone is invited.
They don't give you all the informations. Yes, they keep part of that information away. So even though they allow everybody to improve, some of the information is hidden away, and you don't have all
So
the...
it's like you going into the office building, you have access everywhere, but there are some kind of like a top level kind of administration office which is closed.
Pretty much, yes. Because if you look at what's the problem obviously is money. Power all these eyes and so on to train the models and so on. It requires a lot of power. It requires very expensive GPUs from NVIDIA and lots of resources. So if you see those businesses, they spend really heavy amounts. They invest a lot of money, billions and billions, to get to the stage. So we individuals or even small teams, you can't basically compete with them. However, if you look on the internet, you heard at least some time ago about DeepSeek. DeepSeek basically created a better way of achieving the same solution at the fraction of the cost. And I suspect...
Is it also open source?
I'm not sure about DeepSeek, but treat everything in AI at the moment always with a massive pinch of salt, because everyone wants to come on the top. Because the general idea is that there might be one, or maybe the worry is that there might be one model that will dominate everything.
One ring to rule them all.
Exactly. So look what was happening with operating system with Windows, yes? Windows dominated everything. They become one of the wealthiest businesses in the world, and everybody else basically didn't stand much of a chance. Yes, Apple become as well very successful, but in the market share, they control tiny amount. Only after so many years, other operating systems are starting to catch up. But it's not like on a desktop, but let's say we're talking about the phones, we're talking about other tech. So open source, generally speaking, is good, but with AI, maybe not completely because of the details.
Thank you so much for that. You mentioned this challenge of moving from the big tech to sovereign solutions. And you told us why you're doing it. So how are you going to go about it? And how are you going to show it here on this channel?
Okay, so the difficult part is always, obviously, in Poland we have a saying, the devil sits in details. So what we want to have, a situation where I run tests, and those tests basically show me whether a solution actually is possible. So I analyze my life. I split every section of my life from personal and business. Everything I do, and I try to see where the big tech basically is interacting with me, like using my iPhone, using my laptop, and so on. And based on that, actually try to find solutions which are from European technology, or at least not a big tech. So maybe there's a small provider, or maybe another country like, let's say, Canada, South Korea, and so on.
You even bought a sovereign phone, I heard.
Yes, I mean, to the degree, obviously, I don't want to go now too much to the details, but yes, the idea is to try things and see how they will play out and whether they will deliver an independence from big tech and whether is this possible, yes?
It may sound like a sacrilege to some of the Apple fans because, we sometimes identify that, I'm an Apple guy, I'm a Samsung guy.
Yeah.
It's a big transition for a lot of people.
It is, and the question is, does European tech, can they replace the technology if, for example, technology is not available tomorrow, like we had with Fable 5 or something else? So the question is, will I survive for 12 months, and how far will I move from the day where I started, where actually I was completely immersed in the big tech, to, let's say, 12 months from now, and where will I be? How far and how much success will I gain, or how much failure I will gain?
And what are you going to take into account when it comes to when reviewing it?
Obviously, the most important, it needs to be as good or better than what the big tech is providing.
The quality
of the solution, and needs to be simple enough so I can actually implement in my life. Yes, I can't afford a situation where I will not be able to run my business, because I do run my business, and obviously every day I will be faced with challenges. I can't call my customer and say, I'm so sorry, I will not be able to do that for, let's say, 3 hours because I am testing something. Yeah, so it needs to fit to my life. Yes, the good news is we don't have a big ban right now. Yes, so imagine, let's say next year, US government suddenly decides and cuts everything. Yes, then we have no choice. It happened, it's not available. But for me, in the worst case scenario, I can always revert back to big tech and use their product to deliver what I need to deliver to my customers, to my family, and then look for another solution. But next year, let's say, or whenever if that happens, I want to have a ready stack that I can come back and recommend to my customers and say, look, I tried this doesn't work, but this works, yes? Or this one is better than actually what the big tech is providing. And to be fair, I have already some observation because I've been running tests for a couple of months now. So I will share those on the next podcast. So if you want, do ask me questions and I'm happy to share more. Actually, on the next one, I would suggest we might cover, I will share again the list of all the elements of my life where I interact with big tech, and we can basically see how this test will go.
Amazing. I love it. So this was Beyond Big Tech, a founder's journey to digital sovereignty. Thank you so much, Tom. It's been great pleasure. Please ask questions and let us know what kind of subjects you want to talk about or what kind of tools you want us to review. And we will do it here and we will show you the results of our tests.